This episode is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs, whether it be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got it all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, fill your card up with all their amazing comics. Use the discount code FREAKNET, FREAKNET. Save you 10% at checkout. Not only on their website, but also at their eBay account. And the link to eBay can be found on their homepage at CarterComics.com. Again, CarterComics.com is your one-stop shop for all comic needs.
What's up, everybody? I am Travesty.
And I am Pacman. Yeah, it was short this time because I know it's a different show.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And welcome back to another episode of This Freakin' Show. It is the weekly podcast with a little bit of something and a whole lot of nothing. If you guys listened to the last episode, you know Joe is venturing off to New York for a wedding, so he isn't able to be here today. So this guy with me today, I'm not sure, you haven't been on This Freakin' Show before.
This
right?
is my first time just spotting with you.
Okay. So he calls himself Pacman. I guess growing up, he was known as PX in school. Carried that on into a gimmick in the wrestling business, but this is Pat, and if you guys do recognize him as a co-host of the JFW podcast, and that means you listen to the JFW podcast, so good for you.
You don't have to do the thing.
Yeah, you don't have to do the thing. But yeah, Pax was kind enough to come on with me today to help put out another show. So we try to keep this whole consistent concept of trying to catch up on episodes and everything that we have fallen behind on. Well, I've fallen behind on. A lot of the delays and stuff have been more on me than anything else. So, Pax, I appreciate you being here and talking with me and everything. And this is going to be interesting because there's so much of me that wants to attack you. But that's not
muscle memory. It's muscle memory. I get it.
It's just like the moment you popped on screen, I'm like, okay, this is a different show. We're doing a different thing. We're in a different environment. But I am kind of glad to talk to you because we don't really get a chance to. I mean, we do when the shows are like done and over with. And for anyone who's going to be watching this show from JFW, this isn't about me, yelling at Pac-Man, calling him an idiot, and all that other shit. By the way, solid shirt.
Thank you. You can get it on tpublic.com on the Fourth Mother Box store.
How do you feel about that shirt?
The way that I see it is, certain times in life you just got to take the hits and embrace the hate a little bit. And Tom and Kyle, they have their opinions of me. So, I'm just going to embrace it.
It's one of those shirts, like, so when I saw that they posted it out there and everything, and with them being part of FreakNet Studios, I did want to support their content and everything. So I got the other shirt, which is in my car, and I'm probably going to wear that on our next JFW. It's so fucking busy when you look at it. It's just there's so much with it, but there's very little with it. Mm. And like I said in conversation with you guys, like I didn't even know, like I know what the numbers mean, but there's just no relevancy to the numbers on this shirt. And then when they said it was just random fucking numbers, it's like that makes more fucking sense. But yeah, Fourth Mother Box. I talked about them briefly on this show. They are a new podcast as part of FreakNet Studios. And they cover a lot of Marvel, DC, and then they talk about Metallica a lot. But I'm happy they came out with merchandise. it's a small way for, I refer to ourselves as content creators because I think that's what we are, regardless if we look at ourselves as vloggers or podcasters, whatever the hell it is. It's creating content. You are probably the best description or the best example of that word, I think, of everyone that is part of Freakin' Studios, and I think it has a lot to do with this freaking show, or not this freaking show, Facebook, and the bits and the posts and all the stuff you put out there. And I know it's going to be really, I don't know if it's going to be difficult for you or not, because I do kind of want to talk a little bit about who you are as far as what you do in the wrestling business. And I know there's a lot of like behind the curtain stuff you don't really ever want to give away and shit like that. And I know you got a lot of stuff planned for the summer. We're not going to talk about any of that. So there's no spoilers on anything that's happening with that shit and everything. But there are a few times that I talk about you on this freaking show, and there's only a few select times where there's discussions of who you are or who Nubby is or who Dizzle J is and all that shit outside of JFW. And JFW is a completely different universe if you want to look into a sense of Marvel and DC, or, you know, fucking even Rocket Pro as this multiverse, whatever bullshit. To briefly tell everybody, and you don't have to get into the story of how the LAM got started. We don't need to do that. That's over on JFW. We talked about it. But tell everyone what LIM is, first off, so they have an idea of that.
I mean, the real basic premise is we're a group of wrestling fans, friends going back 20 years in some cases, family, that just enjoy professional wrestling, that wanted to get out a little more once the pandemic started to subside a little bit. We found our niche in the business, and it's worked very, very well for us. And if we have a working formula, you got to sustain it. You got to keep it going. And that's what our content's all about. Just sustaining that and having fun above everything else. Because if we're not having fun, that comes through in our content. But if you're laughing with us, because if you notice a lot in our content, we always break character. There's always somebody giggling over something that somebody else said. Mm-hmm. And I'm completely okay with that because it adds to it. Because you can see we're enjoying ourselves. If we're enjoying ourselves, we're hoping that you're enjoying yourselves. And that's what it's all about. Just having fun.
Well, and that's one of the things that I tell even Joe, Joe knows very little about the wrestling business, but he's always interested when we talk about it. And one of the key points that comes out of wrestling, at least for me, and when I talk about it, is as long as it's fun and I'm having fun, it's going to be a great thing in my life. And I've talked about it on JFW a few times, and I've talked about it, I think, more on this freaking show than I did over on JFW about how there's these speed bumps and stuff in the business that almost makes it miserable. And like I know I talked about it. It might have been off camera on JFW with you guys, but I know I talked about it on here that there were posts that I've put over on Facebook, comments on people's stuff saying like how much I hate fucking wrestling. And to an extent, it's true. It's not like a loathing where I'm like, I'm fucking done. But it just gets to a point where like, I don't want to take something that I love doing and turn it into a job. And there are moments where this almost feels like it. The wrestling business is not podcasting. Podcasting is a fucking job, but it's a fun hobby-based job. I could fucking sit here and do this as a career and be fucking happy. I won't make money, but I can do it and be happy. But when like commentating and going to wrestling shows and stuff become a chore and become a job, it just becomes almost a burden that you just want to just stop having to deal with. That being said, one of the cool things I think situation wise, what I feel like I'm in, and I'm not sure if you're really in that space anymore, I think you kind of evolved beyond it, was, and I don't know if you can remember back when you first started doing all this LIM stuff, because it all formed at a Rocket Pro Wrestling show, but it wasn't a Rocket Pro Wrestling thing. It wasn't created by Rocket Pro Wrestling. It wasn't like the owner of Rocket Pro came up to you and said, "Hey Pat, we want you to start building a fan group and start putting on skits and bits and just be rowdy and all this other shit at the show." Like, you created that on your own. And with doing stuff like that, you have the liberty of doing what you want. Like, you're able to go and do anything without, the permissions and shit of Rocket Pro Wrestling. And that was the perfect example of that, is how we came together. And how I wish I could find the very first episode. I wish I could, because I'd love to go back and listen to it. The very first time I talk about the LIM. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Travesty, as a character, hated how annoying Rocket Pro Wrestling fans are. I mean, they're fans just being fans, but I've always made that joke that I'm like a New Japan fan. I like to sit there and watch the theater of it. I do remember, for the longest time, I mixed you up with J-Back.
I remember that.
I remember watching the video of you and him sitting next to each other, and bantering back and forth and shit about it. And for anyone who is in Rocket Pro now, has seen that'd be different, because obviously character evolution. But first off, you remember when we started off doing our shit? And there were moments where we kind of just, you always, in a sense, you do kind of like say, send a message to somebody, "Hey, just give you a heads up, I'm going to be doing this shit. Are you cool with it?" Whatever. And 9 times out of 10, regardless of if, what we want to do, who gives a fuck? Yeah, go ahead. If it makes sense, if it's funny, whatever. Because we know where that line divides reality and,
right,
that world and shit. But when I started talking about you guys, it was just, being the podcast. Like, I went to Rocket Pro Wrestling, and there was these fucking Rocket Boys and these other idiots on the other side of the fucking ring, and blah, 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 blah. And I can't remember if you messaged me first because you're going to respond, or you just responded, but do you remember the first response that you made?
So I think the one thing that I do remember is it started because Steve on Power Hour, when LIM made their first appearance on there, asked us if we listened to JFW. Out of everybody in the group, I was the one that listened the most consistently and had started listening back in November. So like 2 or 3 months before, but I was listening every week after that point. And then the rest of the guys were like, I don't know, a little bit here and there. I just don't. And then I'm like, oh boy, knowing what I knew there was going to be some content that was going to come out of that from you. So I was like waiting for that piece. And then I listened to that show on my way to work, and I got a big kick out of it. Had the guys listen to it, they got a big kick out of it. And they're like, well, they're talking about us on JFW. Why don't we make this a feud? And because that helps both of us.
Yep.
Because it gets awareness on LIM on your show, and then us talking about you guys, that helps get more listeners to JFW. So doing that piece of it, especially with like Turtle being one of like the biggest, most over stars at Rocket Pro, because maybe there are Rocket Pro fans that don't know that Turtle does a podcast. Yeah. So it also helps Turtle in that regard and getting that awareness out there. So I do remember that, and I think we had a group message like right after that, and we started talking and collaborating on different ideas, different angles, different things we can do, different ways we can go with things. But yeah, no, that's definitely that's some of the most fun I've had with LIM is doing that feud with you.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that, again, and I know I told you this, that because we're talking about like a little over a year ago when all this stuff was. Even I guess before that, it was like at the end of 2022 or whatever. This like everything started up. I can't remember. My memory's shit. Mm-hmm. Was it beginning? When did we actually? Was it beginning of 2022? Is that when the LIM was on there?
LIM was on beginning of 2023.
2023? Okay. It seems so much fucking longer. Because you came a regular at the beginning of June or May.
May,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like I was bitching about you guys longer than that, though. I thought I was talking to you guys for like a year. But anyways, it was a fun time. It still is fun because we still have those moments, and it was awesome that we were able to make it work. As now that you're a permanent host on JFW, mm-hmm. but there's still this headache of a fucking group, and everyone's awesome in it. Well, not everybody. Most people are awesome. Yeah, everybody's awesome. Not everyone's. I like everybody, but there's only a few select people that are fucking awesome. Everyone else, I think, doesn't quite get it as far as the level that you guys can go to, which you're getting there. You're slowly progressing, and it's fucking awesome. And it's why I love watching the evolution of it, especially because when I do shit, whether it be like cemetery vlogs or me and Joe are gonna go eat some fucking food or just doing podcasting and shit like that, like I don't have plans. Like the only plan I ever make is, hey, is anyone fucking free on Saturday who wants to do this freaking show? And you said yes. I never once said, what do you want to talk about? Come up with an idea, come up with a topic. None of that. It's just like, oh, we're just gonna see what fucking happens. Mm-hmm. JFW, the most we come up with is what shows are happening. That's about it. And then there's you, who sends me messages of like, oh, here's the script, here's the breakdown, here's this. I'm just like, calm yourself. But it's amazing because it just shows your passion for what you're doing. Sometimes it bothers me when I see certain people who don't share that passion with you. And I've gone through that. You're the fifth host of JFW?
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's no fault of Dally or Steve. I love the time that Dally and Steve were on the show with me, and I love what they brought to the show. But when you get that false commitment from people, it almost becomes like a fucking struggle. And with you, I think it's a little bit different because when it comes to Dally and Steve, I knew Dally and Steve for 7 years, I think. But only like 3 or 4 before they came on JFW. Mm-hmm. So when they said, I'm done, or, I don't got time for this, blah, blah, like it wasn't anything. It was what it was. I knew I had to find another co-host. And, luckily Jay came back. W did it. You did it. Everything's going good and everything. We just had our highest downloadable fucking month in history of JFW, which is awesome, You is different though because your group of friends are honest to God group of friends, and I know like when you talk about Simp and Jay and Gabagool and you all going to school together and everything, like that's real. That's, you guys knew each other when you were kids. Danny obviously being your brother. I think you said Nick was Danny's friend or some shit.
Mm-hmm. The only one we didn't know before Rocket Pro was Josh. Josh came in. He had actually, honestly, the conversation was simple. Just a random message. Hey, I like your guys' energy. Can I be part of your group? Sure. Could have been a real crapshoot, but
is it weird getting a message like that though?
Depends on the time. I mean, it depends, but like, I think it's cool at the same time because to me that tells that we're making an impact, that we're part of something, and people wanting to be part of that with us and have that fun with us and add their own spin on things. I like having fresh ideas. I mean, not everything that I propose is going to work. Not everything that I do is going to work. So having different ideas and different viewpoints, especially like when we're talking about some of our content ideas and somebody will throw something out and we'll all kind of collaborate if something's like, okay, there's something here, but like, how do we build on that to get that to where it's going to get the reaction that we're looking for? How is it going to help us get, over? So like having those different fresh ideas, we all learn from each other.
Yeah, and you, by the way, I love that. I love how you're trying to find the answer and you just throw something out there. Like that's fucking that's what this freaking show is. It's like, when you're trying to put everything together and, you got two sides of it and you got some of it that goes here. You got some of it that goes here. Basically, it's a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Giggles is different in the sense that that's an actual character creation, I'm guessing, through you. I don't know. Because Gabagool, Double J, Danny, I don't know, maybe Simp was your idea, I don't know. But a lot of these guys, like, it's not like you walked up to, Justin and said, you're going to be an Italian dude. You didn't walk up to Double J and like, you're going to be the big sexy dude. It's like they developed their own characters. Am I wrong? Is that exactly what happened? Like, we need different characters. We need a Sopranos dude, and we need, we need big sexy, and shit like that.
So everybody pretty much, what's the rule in wrestling obviously is the best characters in wrestling are your real personality turned up to 100.
Yeah.
And, we had some placeholder names for some of the people within LIM. I was always going to be PX. I mean, I already knew what my character was going to be. I just needed to turn my personality up a little bit. Danny always pretty much knew. Gabagool was literally a conversation at a show where his original name was going to be Unsel Huston as like an inside. Unsel Huston. It's a misspelling of Uncle Huston. It's an inside joke.
Okay.
And he looks at me one day at a Rocket Pro show. He's like, I can't be that. That's fucking stupid. That was his exact words. And then he's like, I'm going to be Tony. I'm like, all right, well, Tony, what's your last name? Gabagool, like Tony Soprano. And I'm like, all right, if that's what you want to be, you be that. I want to see that. Once we started getting into the JFW stuff, that's when we started to see more of that Gabagool personality and what that looked like. And his promos I was really, really looking forward to those promos because knowing Justin like I do, with how creative his mind is and, how funny he is, I knew it was going to be gold. And he's definitely one of my favorite characters within that group. Double J came up with more of that like pretty boy persona over the summer. That was more him. Smiley, we had a couple different versions of Smiley. He came in as an honorary member, so he came in as the honorary Oos because, that was a send up to obviously Sami Zayn. Then we tried Gila Monster, and I just felt like it wasn't quite hitting the way that it was supposed to for someone named Gila Monster. And I sat down with Josh, and we had, lots of talks about like his character and everything like that. and it's like, okay, who are you? And, outside of stuff, he's a smart aleck, so Smiley McGee, so he's the group smart aleck.
What was Gia Monster supposed to be?
Because
I know what a Gia suit is.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it supposed to be?
So it was supposed to be like, okay, if you think like Finn Balor when he's the demon.
Okay.
It was supposed to be a more intense version of Josh.
Okay, I'm gonna go JFW fantasy for a minute.
Okay.
In what way do you look at fucking Giggles and think Demon Balor? Like, what the fuck?
But it's not quite that, obviously not quite that, but it's kind of where he was thinking. Yeah. And then as we were kind of going through...
that was his idea.
That was his idea.
Oh, okay, so he...
Because that was his... Because he got... Because, he went with his childhood nickname like I did, with PX.
What was his childhood nickname?
Gila Monster. Because of his last name.
Yeah, okay. Wait, so Monster was part of his nickname?
Monster was part of his nickname.
That's a unique name. Okay. Yeah, okay, so saying that, I guess it makes more sense now with the promo videos.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were hilarious because he was attempting to be serious and they just came off as awkwardly intense. It's like, because and that's the thing too. It's like you mentioned. The best characters is just your personality amplified.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to Josh at shows. So when he comes on and he's taking off the sweatshirt and showing the CM Punk shirt, ready to drop pipe bombs, and all I'm looking at is like, this dude's taking clothes off on this fucking tag. It's like, I don't get it. What's with all these LIM members and having less fabric on them? And I'm just like, something is not hitting. And the Gila Monster thing, I just didn't get, just because in my head, I'm thinking like the Gila suits. You're going out there hunting in these fucking, bush looking fucking outfits. And, but now that you say what it's supposed to be, it makes a lot more sense.
And then Simp just kind of showed up.
But Simp wasn't always Simp, right? I mean, he was something else first.
So, I mean, I don't want to necessarily peer too back behind the curtain on that.
No, yeah. But you just say yes or
no. He had a different vision. There was a different vision for that first, but that was original. That was him. That's him turned up to 100 for sure. That I can say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I've only had like maybe 2 conversations with Simp. Like actual conversations. He's a pretty cool fucking dude.
100%.
I don't know how he feels about me. I know one conversation we had, I thought that he had a problem with me. Was I think it was at Christmas Chaos, the December. I think it was the December show for Rocket Pro. You got you guys all like customized mugs. And the bag was sitting right next to me, and I was sitting next to your parents, second row, I think it was, or whatever the fuck it was. And all your guys' shit was just all over the place where you guys were sitting, like
that's us. That's about us. Yep.
Yeah, I had a conversation with your dad about that. I'm like, what the fuck is all this? He's like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know what they do over here. But then I saw the bag with all the And he walks over and he was dressed as Santa or Simp Claus or whatever.
Santa Claus, yeah.
Yeah. And he grabs the bag, he grabs one of the things out of it to go give to somebody, and I just look at him like, oh, is one of those mine? He just kind of stared at me and walked away, and I'm just like, I don't think he knew I was joking, but okay.
I have not heard that story, but that sounds about right for me.
Yeah. I don't know if this dude, like how he feels about me, what he thinks about me. I've had conversations with him afterwards, and I think we're fine. I don't think he thinks he is.
I mean, he disappears into that character.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's just who he is. Like, that's him. And the one thing that I will say is I never expected whoever that is behind that mask to like make something like that for himself. And that was a wholly original idea that he wanted to do. And knowing him like I know him, if you turn it down, he might be discouraged to do that. And I said, if you want to try this, if you want to do this, I have absolutely no problem with it. And I give him full creative control over his character. I sometimes get some, that's not going to work for me, brother. That's the running joke. He's our group Hogan. But, the way that he developed that character, I just think is awesome. And I think it's added so much to our group, especially because one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that, I'm the one that kind of puts out that content, but also we brought in Simp to bring in different ideas, the openings to the podcast, the openings to the vlog, all of that Simp. Some of the videos that we edited is Simp, so Simp helps me with the video editing process.
You get help with your editing?
I do.
What's that like?
So with me, I do the vlogs and the podcast mainly. And then
I'm just wondering what's like
you're talking about when it's like that.
Yeah, what's like that? Yeah, what's like that help with that? Is it nice?
It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
Right? Less stressful, yeah. Awesome, yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Nice, cool. Yeah, cool. Dicks. When did LIM become? When did it go from just a fan group to actually being part of Rocket Pro Wrestling? I don't mean like, when did you guys start coming out with Chuck Gunderson and shit like that, but like an actual like viable part of Rocket Pro Wrestling.
So, really it all begins with the first show we went to. It was me and Gabagool and one of our other friends, who had gone to their show January 2020. It was just a really snowy day. And we really enjoyed what they put out. It was like, obviously we could tell there were changes to the card because of, the weather. But, we could still tell they were still trying to make sure that it was going to be a quality show, even with, some of the limitations that the weather brought. We went to another show in March and then everything shut down and we were like, we got to start telling people about this because when this comes back, we want to try to make sure that we go to these shows because a lot of us went to Pro Wrestling Blitz when it was running out of St. Joe's Park. And, that 2021 season, when they came back after COVID, that was sort of the year where we were like we were getting more involved in the show. Gunner Brave coined our nickname because he dove into the crowd and someone had asked him who had started a This Is Awesome chant after it, and he said it was some lovely intoxicated men. And I'm like, guys, that's our name, So, we continued going on to the shows, and I actually messaged Bill, and I said, if there's anything you ever need, I love what you guys are doing here, just let me know. And he said, help me promote the shows. And I took some time to really think about what we could do with, that lovely intoxicated men brand. So like that summer I had messaged him, I said, what if we as a group created a fan page for a fan group for the lovely intoxicated men? And it would be like memes and reacting to some of the stories and just trying to like find a way to encapsulate that whole fan experience at Rocket Pro. And he loved it. He was all for it. And, around that time I got the call from Chuck Gunderson that said, yeah, No Coast is fighting and we need some people to walk out with me. And I said, absolutely, we can do that. So that's when that started.
I love how even over here, you still refer to Chuck Gunderson like he's a real fucking person.
He is a real person.
I mean, we know he's not. I mean,
he's still real to me, damn it.
there's a video out there, and I remember the night I messaged you guys saying, so and so is Chet Gunderson, because there's a video out there that talks about it. And that's the weird thing too, and that's what I love about wrestling, regardless. It's like, even when you tell people what's fake, it's so good you don't really believe it's truly fake. And that's the cool thing about it. So like, when I message you guys, they're like, I had no idea so and so were fucking Chuck Gunderson. And you guys look at me like, well, how did you not fucking know? It's like, well, first off, I've never been within 10 feet of the fucking guy.
Mm.
And the guy who plays him does a fantastic fucking job. I'm glad Rocket Pro started doing shit with you guys, and I'm glad it evolved into you actually having like backstage responsibilities and positions and shit, because you guys, in a sense, did wrestling fans right. Like, you do it the right fucking way, and we don't see that a lot. You know, there's
we don't.
Yeah, we talked about it not too long ago with the Sky Blue incident at the Ring of Honor show, but even in independent wrestling, like, there's those fans that, and I don't want to talk about. I'm not going to name them. You know, we know who they are, and I don't want to turn this into more than what it needed to be about it. But they, God, it's hard to fucking talk about it. How do I fucking say this? There's certain fans who I don't think have the functioning capability to, how the fuck do I say this? Alright. There are certain fans that are at these shows, and it's not just Rocket Pro Wrestling. It's Rocket Pro Wrestling, ARW, SCW, whatever it is, that in their mind, the shit's more real than it really is. And I think that sometimes they do end up crossing a line that they shouldn't be crossing. I love the fact that they're fans. I love the fact that they are so passionate about it. But for me, it really bugs the fuck out of me when I see certain fans act a certain way and do a certain thing. One of the best examples is the guy we talked about his videos recently. Mm-hmm. It almost becomes like, and I know it's weird to say it, and I know I've said it a lot, but I say it because I mean it, is that there are certain guys who are trying to do what you guys do. You know, and it pisses me off. And I was going to talk about this on JFW, but I think it's more of a This Freakin' Show thing. But I think the problem with that guy is he wants all the reward without any of the work. You know, he wants to, you know, because he sees PX out there having tag team matches on Rocket Pro Wrestling, and he sees him coming out with Chet Gunderson, and he sees him in segments and promos and all this other shit, and whatever other wrestling term you could throw out there, and a vignette, all this shit. And he wants that. But he doesn't want to go through the work that you guys did to get there. And that, I think, pisses me off more than anything in the world. It's people who want instant gratification without any of the effort that they put in to achieve that.
And I will say this, and, you know, I guess this is for maybe anybody that is listening to this show that, you know, might be considering getting into the wrestling business. You know, I didn't have everything handed to me. You know, the way that you get involved in the business, obviously networking, number one. And number two, the big thing is being there when the arena's being set up, helping with that, getting to know people through that. Actually helping and setting stuff up, you know, getting that appreciation for what exactly goes into a wrestling show. And then above all, you got to listen to whoever is in charge there, whoever's calling the shots there, you can't always get your shit in. You gotta also follow the directions of the booker and your veterans. You always gotta listen to the veterans, especially when you're starting out. And, I because I wasn't I was never really involved in wrestling before Rocket Pro, but I have been following wrestling for a very long time and, always looked into if I were to ever get into it, and I never thought I would, and now I am, which I think is amazing. What's the right way to go about it? I'm never going to wrestle, again. Well, I shouldn't say it's never say never. It's wrestling. But,
I like how you say it again, like you did go out there and just drink a beer and do a stunner.
But
you're out there springboarding off fucking roads and shit, lockdown, wrestling again. You put more effort into opening the beer and placing it on the fucking mat.
I had to make sure it didn't spill. The canvas is hard to clean.
The gentleness of that entire fucking segment was fantastic. 'Cause there you are, sit down, you stun a guy who's also holding a fucking beer who goes fucking flying, as if what you did made a difference.
He wasn't suspecting, that's all I'm saying. But, the big thing with me is I never really thought about roles outside of, the pro wrestling side of pro wrestling. I have an eye condition, so if I took a bump the wrong way, I could lose vision in my right eye. And, when that match was being...
What exactly is that?
It's called coloboma. So basically, my retina and my optic nerve didn't form right. I could send you a picture after we go off air, but basically the back of my eye looks like the Death Star. That's the best way I can describe it.
And they can't fix it.
It's genetic.
Who gave that to you?
Probably my dad. I think it was my dad. Because my family was part of a study on the condition. And they said it came from, recessive genes from my dad.
I come from a long line of lab rats.
Basically. But a lot of care was taken because Rocket Pro was aware, of that limitation with me. And, that's something.
How do you know you have that? What test is there for that?
I mean, just dilate your eyes, take some pictures. I have pictures going back from when I was in first or second grade, and I have to take pictures every few years to make sure that there's no, I'm trying to think of the word, making sure that, my retinal condition hasn't changed.
See, and I couldn't imagine, and this may be a conversation, it's just probably a question I could probably ask your mom next time I'm at a Rocket Pro show and I see her and shit. But how the fuck do you parent a kid like that?
I mean,
it's horrifying. It's fucking horrifying because kids get into fucking everything.
Oh, and I mean, the thing is, I couldn't do any contact sports. I always had to be careful in gym class. Oh,
you're 5'2". Were you going to really fucking contact with that?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I wouldn't put you on a kickball team. You fucking kidding me?
But I had to be very careful when I was younger to make sure that I didn't hit my head, and I still have to be careful of that. But with coloboma, I'm actually in a rare case with that because I actually can see. A lot of people with that condition have vision impairments, and even though I think one eye's stronger than the other eye, and it's surprisingly, it's my right eye that has the coloboma that actually is the stronger eye, which is crazy, and it baffles my eye doctors, because typically that's not the case.
Yeah, so I'm not saying go out and fucking test it or anything, but how do they know that if you get hit in the back of the head that you'll go blind? Like, how do they really know?
I mean, the hole's right there.
What do you mean a hole?
There's a hole in the back of my eye. I'll show you. I'll text you the picture because I do have that on my phone.
What do you mean there's a hole? Wait, okay, you're talking about the eyeball itself?
The back of my eye, there's a hole in the back of my eye because
the eyeball. You're talking about this thing, this thing right here. That there's a hole on the back of it.
Yep. Because the eye didn't form all the way.
Oh, jeez, what a fucking quitter.
But the one thing I can say is, Rocket Pro kept in mind that limitation. That's something that, I was grateful for, and, obviously why I was like, well, you never know when an opportunity like this is going to come. So, fuck it, live your dream, kid.
So what'd you do when you were a kid then?
As far as
have you ever sledded before?
Of course I sled.
Well, see, but that's what I mean. It's like if I was a parent and a doctor told me like your kid's suffering from coloxamana, and I'm just like, okay, well, what? Yeah, no. The entire time you kept talking about the thing, all I could think about was fucking Vince. I was like, if he does not have a brother that comes out as Ebola or whatever the fuck you called it, it's like if somebody came up to me and was like, your child suffers from this, it's not an illness. What the fuck is it? A medical condition to where if they get smacked in the back of the head hard enough, they can lose their eyesight. Say, okay, cool. So that means they're never going to go down a fucking metal slide because as soon as they bump off the bottom, they get smacked their head on the back. They're not going to go on a teeter-totter because they fall off and shit. I'm not giving them to any, wobbly fucking grandparents. And it's just like, you fucking, hey, you're a wrestling fan. Have you ever, did you ever grow up doing backyard wrestling with your friends?
I mean, I did, but, mainly it was just me doing moves on Danny, to be honest.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, how the fuck did you, and I'm not trying to belittle you in any way, but
I know what you're saying.
How the fuck did you have a childhood to where you, were you helmet bound your entire fucking life?
No. So it was more, so it has to be like a very direct hit.
So there's one spot. So like that fucking Star Wars Death Star explosion thing?
Basically.
You'll find here's your ventilation shaft right here.
Exactly. That's the best way to describe it. So I could do sports. I was on, I did T-ball teams when I was a kid, so mostly I was throwing dirt in the field up in the air. So I wasn't really paying much attention. That sounds about right.
Shit. Let me guess.
Basically.
Let me guess. Left field?
Shortstop.
They put you at who the fuck put you at shortstop?
Hey, I'm not questioning it. That was 5 years old.
God.
But, I did volleyball. I just had to wear goggles for that. I like you did. So I did a little bit of that. I played bench mostly when I played dodgeball.
You're small. Yeah, that's the other thing. You don't got the height, man. You should have done let's see here. What would be a good chess?
Chess?
You are built for chess. You are or like a quiz bowl. I think you'd be. You'd fucking crush it at. I'm
good at bar trivia.
Yeah, see stuff like that. But yeah, no, you don't come off as a sports guy. And I love you, buddy. Yeah. I fucked women bigger than you. Okay, I'm just saying. You are a dainty fucking dude. You are what fucking Danny DeVito was before he growth spurted. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Solid fucking dude. Though.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this funny story. When I was a sophomore, we started doing the swimming part of gym class, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll try out for the swimming team. I told that to my grandmother. I was a sophomore in high school, mind you. Her response was, if you do that, I will buy you your water wings. Honest to God.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's fucking fantastic. But yeah, man, it's just because I remember you talking to me about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was before I don't know if it was before the idea of you doing the match was, or if it was before you told me about the match. Because I don't know how long you knew that match was happening before it happened. But like, I remember talking to you about it. I was like, dude, fucking, you could be a manager, you could do all this shit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's stuff you could do. You just have to sit there, hey, listen, I want to be out there and do this stuff. I want to get involved. Just don't hit me in the back of the fucking head. Which is also weird because I remember growing up, being explained that, that all the fucking functions and nerves of your fucking eyes and shit start at the back of your head and come up and around.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get hit in the back of the head, it fucks with your eyes for a minute.
Yeah.
And that's to any normal person, not just you. I could not fucking imagine having, being that fucking parent. And what's weird is like, I could feel myself being like 26-year-old Travis, thinking to myself like, man, your life must have been so fucking boring. Like your life must have sucked knowing that you can't go out and do this shit. But now being 34-year-old Travis, my mind is more focused on the fears that your parents must have had over the concern of what you may have had. Because like I said, kids get into shit. Kids want to go play at parks. They want to go play with their friends. They want to run around. They want to go sledding. You get bumped off fucking sleds. All this.
Yeah.
You want to go to the beach and shit, but you fuck around with your friends. But your parents are sitting there, and that's the kind of parent I would fucking be. It's like, I want my kids to like go out and get dirty and all that shit because that's how you develop them. Eat fucking dirt. That's how you develop your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Get fucking dirty, get fucking sick. That's how your immune system is built. But if I had a kid and my doctor said like, well, if he gets smacked in this one fucking spot, he could lose his fucking eyesight. That kid is fucking bubble wrapped until he can make his own fucking choices because it's not going to be on me that my kid's going to walk into fucking walls.
And I think, I think there was an aspect of my parents being super protective, especially with that. I mean, when I was younger, I was on ADHD medicine and, my mom, I know, it adds up, right? It adds up.
Yeah.
Explains a lot.
I want a list of all your medical issues. Fucking Koa fucking ADHD. So far, so good.
A little bit of a heartburn here while we're on this.
I got indigestion.
Upset stomach, diarrhea, Pepto-Bismol.
Sometimes I bleed. I don't fucking know.
I am who I am.
I am who I am.
But, the one thing, with my mom, especially, in the public schools where, at that point I wasn't, quite frankly, getting a lot of the support that I needed, the way that my mom always described it is I'm an advocate first and a mom second. So my parents, especially my mom, when I was younger, fought like hell for me to make sure I had everything that I needed so then I can be successful, that I can go on and, do these things even with my limitations. And I would say I turned out okay, got a college degree, got a decent paying job. I would be nothing without my parents.
Well,
and be nothing without my mom.
That's how intercourse works. You need a fucking kidding me? You are 100% right. You would not be anything if it wasn't for your parents. That's how fucking life works, buddy. I do get what you're saying. With the small, brief interactions I've had with your parents, they are stand-up fucking people. They are. It's cool because the fact that they came to the wrestling shows even when you weren't actually competing in the ring, even when you weren't doing anything, you were just there. They were there. Mm-hmm. And that's really fucking cool. Because I know, cause there's this whole grand ambition of finally getting healthy, getting refreshed and trained, and maybe having a match. I know my parents aren't fucking coming to that. I know they won't. My dad 100% thinks wrestling's stupid. He thinks wrestling got dumb right when fucking Hulk Hogan came in. And that's his conversation with me every time about wrestling. He's like, yeah, no, shit, it went to shit right after Dick the Bruiser and Gorgeous George and Classy and all that other shit. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I get it. That's his mindset. My fucking dad, he's an older fucking dude. He had me and my siblings when he was like in his 30s. So he's that old timer fucking dude. My mom just wouldn't fucking go because she'd be fucking too terrified. She assumed something will fucking happen, and she used to go to wrestling shows all the time as a kid, and she knows about she knows that shit can happen, but she won't go. Maybe my stepdad would. Maybe I'd have friends that would and stuff, but my parents aren't gonna go. They're fine with the shit that I do. They're supporters of this. My dad doesn't get it. My mom gets it, and she's like, hey, it's better than doing fucking drugs. And it's like, yeah, close. But sometimes this should become a fucking drug, It's, it all depends on how invested you get into this fucking world. And I'm talking about podcasting, not so much wrestling, but, when did you want to turn, and first off, I like the fact that we're able to talk about your fucking personal life for a minute. Because I didn't want to come on here and make this whole thing. I'll be honest with you. My idea was to come on here and talk to you about this Star Wars Acolyte thing. The whole reason we're not doing that is because I didn't do any of the things I wanted to do for it. Because I was gonna pull up so much fucking information that I just wanted you to be in shock and awe about the knowledge I had of this. But then I didn't do it, so that's why we didn't end up doing.
So we're still at Space Platypus then. Got it.
Okay. And the thing is, I've been watching a lot of Disney Plus lately. I've been watching some of the. I know there's an age gap between us, but it's not. Because you're gonna be 30 this year. Yep. So it's only like 4 years. So, I don't. Did you watch Disney growing up?
I did.
So, did you watch, the Disney movies, like Brink, Miracle in Lane 2, Double Team, Mom's Out There with the Vampire, Don't Look Under the Bed, Proof Point, Smart House?
I was more, I'd say Halloween Town.
Okay, well, it's the same era.
Yeah. So, I didn't watch a lot of live action stuff. I honestly, when I was a kid, I always liked cartoons a little more.
You're not looking at your height, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I have cartoon-like proportions. I'm impish and whimsical. But,
well, anime shit, right? Is that okay.
That was always more my forte.
Do you have Disney Plus? You do.
I do.
Dude, go watch some of those old fucking Disney movies. Because, honestly, I was, when you were describing your fucking, medical condition, all I kept thinking about is the movie Miracle in Lane 2. And, it's basically this fucking kid who he has, I don't know, I think it's like spinal bifida or some goofy shit. Basically, he's a paraplegic. And he wants to fucking do all these sports. He wants to do something, He has there's two different illnesses. I want to say one is spinal bifida or some shit. Or no, it's, what the fuck is that? Anyway, there's two diseases. He has one, and then the other one is there's spinal fluid that builds up in his head or some shit. Mm. So he's in a wheelchair, so he can't really play sports. So he ends up doing soapbox derby. And,
I think I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's based on a true story. Frankie Muniz was in it and everything. It's fucking fantastic. And I was watching these fucking shows. I've been watching these, while I was on vacation in between, my times of rest or playing this Grand Theft Auto role-playing game or trying to get shit done at work. It's I just been watching a lot of 99, 2000, 2001 Disney movies, but they're cool. And I still get teared up from them too. True Confessions, one of the most emotional fucking movies even to this day. I still get teared up from shit up that. But it's because growing up and being in high school, I've always had a great relationship with I don't even know what the proper term is anymore, but mentally challenged kids, I guess. I don't know what the appropriate name is nowadays. I really don't. Well, you go to school. What's an appropriate name for somebody who is mentally challenged? What is it now?
I would say, I think it's like special needs individuals.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, that makes more sense. But like, I mean, even like through elementary school, through high school and stuff like that, like I always had a great relationship with them. I always made the joke because, we had the same functioning brains and stuff, but, can't make those jokes anymore. But True Confessions is about Shia LaBeouf, who plays a mentally challenged, brother. And this girl whose name is True is like doing like these vlogs and shit like that, and some of them are about her brother and stuff, and it gets sad, because it's like I think the reason I liked spending time with those, like, first off, I like spending time with them because no one else wanted to, and I think that was bullshit. Because I do believe that everyone should be treated the same regardless, and I know a lot of people look at me weird when I go up to certain wrestling fans at these wrestling shows who share similar learning disabilities, and I treat them the same way I treat you, or I treat any of the workers, or even their fucking kids. Like, everyone's treated the same. Like, I'm not going to go up to somebody and treat them differently just because they are different. Because in my mind, they're not different. They aren't. But I know some people get bothered by that, but I don't care. Like, I feel that you do more harm when you treat them different than you do when you don't. And
And I think you bring up a good point, because knowing people like that,
yeah,
they do want to be treated just like anybody else. I mean, they'll have certain things that, they may need additional support for, but overall, they do want to be treated just like any other person.
Yeah. I have told people to fuck themselves regardless if they're elderly, children, if they have autism, if they have Down syndrome, if they have one arm, if they're black, white, if they're gay, straight, it doesn't matter. If you don't listen to my show, fuck yourself. Like, I mean, that's the gimmick, and, but I mean, it is that way because no matter what, I always treated people the exact same fucking way. Like, I don't walk up to them and like, hey buddy, you need help out of the chair? No, they're able to stand on their fucking own. Unless they're in a wheelchair. That's very mean to say. But it's just like, it's like I would never treat somebody special because they're special. I don't think, it's like you said, I don't think they want that. If you normalize them, then things become fucking normal, Now, on the back end of it, I think that some of them take advantage of it and they try to use that to, act, the ways that they do. And again, I'm talking about wrestling fans. I'm not talking about people, in the world in general. I know there are fucking wrestling fans who fucking like, well, you can't be mean to me because of this. You can't be mean to me because of that. It's like, fuck you, I can't. It's like, if you're acting like an asshole, I'm going to let you know you're acting like an asshole, and then you'll be treated like an asshole. I don't care what conditions or issues you fucking have. There's no reason that you should ever be a dick. I know people can have bad days. I get that shit. I get that the functioning sometimes is skewed, and they can have a really bad day, and they can take it out on other people. I can understand that. But there's also a belief that there's a way to tone it down. Like you could calm down, but don't throw that shit like you need to be nice to me because of this. It's like, I don't. Like, I really don't. Like, the world is a fucked up place. And at least you have somebody like me who's willing to treat you like a normal person instead of the horrible people in the fucking world that will treat you differently, but they'll treat you differently in a negative fucking way. I didn't realize how long we were talking. We're almost done. Which, this has been nice, Pax. It has been.
I agree. I'm glad. I know the past couple times you put out something about that, I've been busy and I haven't been able to jump on this freaking show. So I was happy that I was actually available for this today so we could, chop it up, as the kids say.
You know, it's weird because regardless if it's in JFW or if it's personal chats between you and me or Jay and me or Nubby and me, but it's always entertaining to me when like I put a show out and like one of you are on, or I ask if you guys want to be on and you can't do whatever, and then like after the show gets released, after you listen to it, I get a message from one of you who's like, man, I would love to have been on that because I'd love to talk about that fucking topic and shit like that. And that's the thing too, it's like between me and Joe, like we have no idea what the fuck we're talking about until we get onto the show. Like, it's like I always tell Joe, it's like we're just gonna go on and we're just whatever fucking conversation comes up, it just comes up. And if I feel like there's gonna be a lull, I'm just gonna fucking Google search some fucking topics that are out there right now. Like that fucking Triton thing from last week. I didn't know I was gonna do that until 5 minutes after we started the show. Just because I knew there wasn't really anything else to talk about, even though me and Joe didn't record for like 2 weeks. I just knew there wasn't really anything changing or anything new. But I love it because it evolves the show from what it used to be to what it is now. Mm-hmm. And I think what it is now is a lot better because I almost use this freaking show now as like a video journal pretty much. Like just to talk about my fucking life. And I know people out there you really should put your business out there, blah, blah. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. You know? The only way this hurts me is if there's ever a time where an ex comes back into my life and they listen to past old shows where I talked about them and they can put 2 and 2 together. But luckily, I have more than one shitty fucking ex. So, try to separate that, you bitches.
Treat it.
So, 2 quick things. I didn't ask you, but what were you freaking drinking?
I was drinking a large coffee from Mickey D's, 5 creams, 5 sugars, my usual. I'm very boring with my coffee.
Put 5 sugars in 1 coffee?
It's a large coffee.
That's 5 sugars.
Well, yeah, I don't like the bitterness sometimes, so it kind of dulls it out a little bit. My A1Cs are good.
That's 5 sugars.
But my A1Cs are good, as far as I know.
Yeah, I had Diet Dr. Pepper. Which, you know what? I haven't had Diet Dr. Pepper in like quite some time. Usually I just been getting like the sugar-free shit, but it was on sale, so. And then finally, what are you freaking thinking about?
So the one thing that I will say, we talked a lot about my journey throughout wrestling and LIM and everything like that. And,
don't get selfish. I talked about LIM's journey.
Yeah, and you did too.
Yeah, selfish. You selfish fuck.
So the one thing that I don't really talk about too much is where I was before LIM and everything started. Pandemic, away from everything else, down on myself, really in a dark place. And I had a friend at that time that taught me to believe more in myself and, gave me more of that self-confidence. I don't talk to that friend anymore. We stopped talking. We lost contact with each other. So the one thing that I'm thinking about is her and that she's doing well and that I'm grateful that even though her part in my life is probably done, though I'd love to have her, I'd love to reconnect at some point, that I'm just so grateful that she had that impact on my life because I don't think I would have done any of this, if she wasn't involved in it. Like, the first time we hung out, the one thing we did, we watched WrestleMania together. Yeah. And that was like the first time where I actually felt comfortable with talking about that more openly with people, like my love for professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm very, very grateful for that person, and none of this is possible without them.
Yeah. It's weird because yesterday I went and grabbed breakfast. I got breakfast with my godfather, who I haven't seen in quite a few years. And it was weird because we started talking about how living in Peatone, I constantly find people who went to like Oak Forest High School. Like, I don't understand it, but it seems like somebody knows somebody who went to Oak Forest High School.
Mm-hmm.
My mom went there. Obviously, my godfather went there. My stepdad went there. All my stepdad's siblings, my mom's sister, my mom and stepdad's two best friends who are married to each other. There's this weird fucking connection with Oak Forest High School. And I was talking to him yesterday about, it's weird that I don't ever hear my parents talk about like high school. Like, they're just like, or people. Like, my mom, when she talks about her friends from high school, it's either my godfather, Paul, or a friend of theirs who passed away from a parachuting accident decades ago, like in their 20s. And then like one of her friends from down in Florida. But like a few days earlier, I went out to my dad's for my birthday, and I was just asking him because he actually, I don't know if you, I can't remember the name of this group. So there was this group back in, I want to say it was like the 70s called the Mau Mau. You ever hear about them?
I have not, no.
Okay. It was if you get a chance, Google it. It's interesting.
Mamas. Okay.
Yeah, MAW, MAW. I think
MAW. Let me write
it's
that down.
either MAW or MAU. But it's like Mau Mau or whatever. It was basically a group of Vietnam veterans who pretty much went on a murdering spree. And I think it's MAU, actually, now that I think about it. MAU, money. Yeah. Yeah. DEMAU, 3 words. D Mau Mau. It was Vietnam veterans who came back from the war and basically started murdering people. And one of their incidents happened in Moni, Illinois, which is like 6 miles north of me.
Yeah, that's not far from you.
Yeah. So back in the 70s, they killed a family of a guy that my dad went to high school with.
Oh.
And yeah. So I never knew anyone who knew somebody who had shit like that before. But like he was away at college, and his mom, his dad, and his brother were all fucking murdered. But then I started talking to my dad about his fucking high school friends and all this shit. Nobody ever really fucking talks about, like, first off, no one ever really has friends that last really that long in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad has one fucking friend, and he prefers it that way. That's his choice. One fucking friend he's had for more than 30 fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 close friends to me that I've known, one since birth, one since kindergarten, and one since freshman year of high school. And these are my 3 closest fucking friends in the world. Everyone else is like high school and after. And there's acquaintances, but then there's friends and shit. Jay, I knew for 18 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I pride myself on maintaining friendships. I never let go of a friendship. But if somebody else decides to, I will be fine with that. But I'm never the one that says, hey, this friendship's fucking done. Or I never fucking just bail on fucking people. If I try to reach out to somebody and they don't get back to me 3 times, then I'm fucking done. Huge baseball fan, 3 strikes. Same thing. If I invite you somewhere and you don't show up after 3 times, fucking done. It's just I'm not gonna sit there and beg for fucking friendships and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you have the LIM, which is a group of fucking friends, that's fucking cool, dude. That's an amazing thing. And the fact that you could sit there and think about a friend who's impacted your life. I mean, you always know that it's not that hard just to message somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an opportunity or a way to reach them, fucking do it. You know?
And then the thing is, it's like it would take one conversation, and I know that, and I don't want to chase it either. But the one thing that I do know is that if it ever came to pass, if the cards lined up, if all the ducks were in a row, perfect fit for LIM. Yeah. If they wanted to do it. But, just amazing person. It's a shame that things kind of ended in a weird place like it did, but even with that, I'm not bitter about it.
Yeah.
I've tried to make peace with it. I'm starting to a little bit, but I'm still very much grateful for, even though they weren't around for a long time, the huge impact they had on me. Like, the way I'd best describe it is like, okay, you've seen Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
And there was the guy that was helping Tony Stark build the Mach 1 in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
She was that person. And got me out of the cave. Got me out of my head. And got me to a point where last year, 2023, was probably the best year of my life because I was doing so much in the business. I felt the most comfortable I've ever felt in my head. My mental health, in the best shape it's been in years. Because she helped me believe in myself and she helped me, better myself. And, she probably won't hear this. But, if she does, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Well, why wouldn't she hear it? Why wouldn't you send it to her and tell her to listen to it?
Oh, don't gotta wait to.
You don't have her on Facebook.
Nope.
You don't have her phone number.
Nope.
You don't have a mutual friend. How is that fucking possible?
I'll explain off air.
All I know is if you have somebody in your life that makes you feel that way, they should be in your fucking life. Friend, girlfriend, family, whatever the fuck it is. People who change your life should be in your fucking life. It's not somebody who's, and I make that joke a lot, and we could talk more about it. You could come back on and we could talk more. I've always had this belief that girlfriends that I have are only with me to get themselves better and back out there and shit. It's very common, and every ex I've had got married after we fucking broke up. It's like that movie Good Luck Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Very not the exact same, but I mean, like, obviously they eventually get married, but it's like I find these broken women who just fucking, I guess in a sense, gave up, ended up dating me, and once they're better, once they're more confident, they're gone. People like that fucking suck. But people are put into our lives for a reason. No matter how long it is. If it's forever or if it's briefly, somebody's always there for a fucking reason. And I think that people kind of like miss that fact, because fucking even people who you just bump into briefly, could do one little thing to fucking, it makes your day fucking better. Like just holding the door for you when you walk into a gas station. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. So that small little gratification kind of makes you feel a little bit fucking better. And maybe that's that little thing that starts making you have a positive fucking day. Just that interaction. Or somebody who's ringing up an order at, fucking McDonald's or, again, a gas station and groceries. How's your day going? It's like, wow, no one has asked me that yet today. It's going, though. Thank you. Shit like that. It's small little fucking thing. And that's why I firmly believe that people need to be better fucking people in this world. Unless you're Travis T on JFW, then you're a dick. But in reality, all you gotta do is fucking be nice to people. And you know what? If you don't want to be fucking nice to people, then just fucking stay away from fucking people. You don't have to be mean all the fucking time. Unless you're in gimmick. Then it's fucking fine. The wrestling business is fucking weird. Thank you for asking about what I'm freaking thinking. Let me tell you.
What are you freaking thinking?
Yeah, you weren't gonna ask.
I was gonna ask.
You weren't gonna ask. It's funny that you mentioned your fucking LDLs or whatever that, because I finally got through all of my fucking doctor's appointments and stuff. Over the week while I was on vacation, I went to the eye doctor. I took Cooper to the vet. I finally got a primary care physician because I haven't had one in like over a decade. I got blood work and stuff done yesterday. I got some of the results that were. I was up at 3 this morning playing fucking video games, and for some reason my results were coming through at 3 a.m. and I was looking at everything, trying to figure out why no matter what I do, I can't fucking lose weight. Regardless if it's, calorie deficits, no matter what the diet is and stuff, the weight does not fucking go away. And I'm like, there's gotta be fucking something wrong. So I'm looking at all my fucking scores, and I know they're gonna call me on Monday to run through everything and talk to me about it. But from what I can tell, nothing's fucking wrong. So it's just the fact that I am fat. So, I'm glad I got everything done. I got brand new glasses for the first time in 12 years. I got new prescription glasses. Those should be coming in about a couple of weeks. So I'm excited to get those. Cooper's all caught up on his shots. I was able to go to the doctor. The only thing left is the dentist. So, there was definitely more I wish I could have got done on my vacation, but I think I spend more time doing non-relaxing shit than I do relax on vacations. I want to fix that, but, I'm just happy that I got the test done. Again, everything that they send me says I'm within the normal range. So as far as cholesterol and blood work and, all that shit, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're going to fucking call me and was like, yeah, everything looks great, but you just really got to lose some fucking weight. And I was like, I know that. Fucking help me. It's like, tell me how to fucking do this. So, I'm just glad I know, because I mean, obviously being 34 years old now, being overweight, being a smoker. Oh, which by the way, I'm quitting smoking tomorrow.
Hey.
Yes, I'm excited for that. I know that I am a high risk of fucking dying. I know that. I know that this could be my last fucking podcast. It could. I could get off the call with you. I can go downstairs, turn the TV on, and fucking just pass on. Because I can have a heart attack or whatever the fuck it is, because the unhealthy way I live life and shit is just what it is. And it's a terrifying experience, but it's a terrifying thought, but it's a thought I fucking accepted. So I want to change that. I want to get better at it. So start working on dieting ideas and shit like that. Starting to put together a workout plan and stuff like that. And I think queen smoking is definitely going to be one of the things that are going to benefit me and going to help. So, if you think I was an asshole before, it's going to be far worse for some time.
Oh boy.
At least 21 days, because that's all it takes to break a habit. Pax, I appreciate you coming on and talking with me. I appreciate you for some reason. I don't know why, but this show's fucking 30 minutes longer than it should be, but that's probably because it's you.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm glad we got to chop it up.
I like doing these cross-branding Freaknet Studio things. I want to get Tom on from Fourth Mother Box. I want to get him on, as well as my old neighbor Katie. Because I think out of everyone, they're the ones who go to Disney the absolute most. Like, I think Katie's at Disney like every other fucking day. I don't get it. There's not that much to do. But I want to get them on because I want to talk about Disney, and I want them to change my mind on the fact that Disney is a waste of fucking time. But I like having Freaknet Studios people on here because we could actually talk about real fucking life and just be fucking normal. And you're welcome to come back anytime fucking Joe's not available, because like I said, I like doing these conversations. It's a nice way to fucking bullshit and everything. And Pax hosts his own fucking podcast. It's the Lovely Intoxicated Men over on YouTube. Just search Lovely Intoxicated Men podcast. That's how I find it. Or go to no, actually you're not Freaknet Studios. Yeah. Why aren't you on Freaknet Studios?
Well, you haven't asked me.
No. If I did, would you say yes?
I think I would.
No. Well, I'm glad you think you would, so I'm not asking.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, right. Sucks for you.
Damn.
If you go onto YouTube, and search Lovely Intoxicated Men, they'll pop right up. Like I said, I searched Lovely Intoxicated Men podcast. They pop right up. You'll see Pacman right there on the screenshot with all his friends. Subscribe to it and listen to it. If you're in the Joliet area and you're a friend of Rocket Pro Wrestling, you already should be subscribed to the LIM. You should already know who they are. There's so much more than just a wrestling group. If you follow them on Facebook, you can see all the cool shit that they put out as far as, like videos, and because they're more like skits and stuff. I mean, it's based around wrestling, but it's entertaining as fuck. And it shows what kind of fun you can have with your fucking friends when you just leave bullshit of like reality behind. So you follow LIM on Facebook, you follow the LIM on YouTube and shit like that. It is real fun. So go on to YouTube anyways, even if you don't go to the LIM, which you should. You'd be dumb not to. But go to Freaknet Studios as well. Subscribe over there. You can watch our podcast. You can watch me and Pacman sit here and talk. If you choose to listen to it instead, that's fine. You can do that on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just search This Freakin' Show. Subscribe either at YouTube at Freaknet Studios or on This Freakin' Show at Any Audio. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Buy your merch, This Freakin' Show, tpublic.com, search This Freakin' Show, Freaknet Studios, JFW. New fucking Nubby shirt finally came out, the Faction Slayer. So that's a thing.
Danny's getting one of those for his birthday, I think.
Give a tank on.
That and a pack of Hawaiian rolls. I think that'll be his gift.
I found out that on TeePublic that they actually have hats now.
Oh.
So you can actually order hats now from TeePublic. So that's pretty cool.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Guys, that's all I got. As always, I'm Travesty.
And I am Pacman.
And thank you for listening to another episode. I almost did the long, actually, fucking name. It's weird because it's like everyone else has like a long fucking name.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing Turtle Nubby, Dizzle J, Cartoon Joe, Pacman.
It's an abbreviation and a great nickname.
And it's just weird not to. I'm the LIM champion. I am the 1-0. God damn.
I gotta stay consistent. It's a different show, Travis. I'm more Pat than I am Pacman.
Yeah, God. Thank fucking God. And then you're listening to another episode of This Freakin' Show. I'm out.